Storytelling is a unique way of passing the culture and preserving the history for centuries. Here in Hokkaido, stories play an important role, passing ahead the culture and traditions of the Ainu people who have lived here for ages and continue to live on. It only takes one person to share something to inspire an idea into the whole world. We will learn about Isabella Bird, who did just that back in the day while traveling to these parts of Japan to learn about the Ainu people. On today's adventure, we'll dive deep into Ainu culture and dive deeper into their lives, experiencing it firsthand. You'll also learn more about nature's bounty as we cycle from the top of the mountains thick in the forest and make our way down to the sea. But before we venture off into the remote parts, we're starting our journey in Sapporo, the city known for its incredible ramen, the world-famous beer, and also beautiful nature intertwined. Sapporo is the capital of Hokkaido and the perfect jumping-off point for adventure travelers. It is a large city with a population of nearly 2 million that is developed as the center of Hokkaido. But it is also close to nature with its abundant seasonal beauty. When it comes to food, Hokkaido is truly a treasure trove of ingredients within Japan. And Sapporo is where fresh, high-quality ingredients from all over the prefecture can be found. Not only can you find the famous Sapporo beer and age-old traditions like sake brewing, it's also a place for food lovers. In Sapporo, you can savor a wide range of gastronomic culture, from first-class, sophisticated dishes like sushi made by artisans, to local gourmet foods like Sapporo miso ramen. But we haven't talked yet about the most unique thing about Sapporo: the proximity between city and nature. Sapporo, with its superb blend of urban functions and lush natural environment, is a city perfectly suited for the capital of nature-rich Hokkaido.
A short subway or streetcar ride will take you to Mount Moiwa and Mount Maruyama.
Both are home to virgin forests that have been designated as national monuments. Enjoy the climb of the mountain. Use all 5 senses. You'll be amazed at the proximity of the city from the top. At night, Mount Moiwa is also a spectacular sight looking out over the city. The art and art scenes in Sapporo are seamlessly integrated into the natural environment too. This is the Hill of the Buddha, which could lay claim to being the single most photogenic piece of open-air art in Japan. The work of acclaimed Japanese architect Tadao Ando, the hill features a 13.5-meter Buddha statue placed in an underground shrine, which from the outside appears as a giant mound with just the upper third of the Buddha's head poking above the ground. The sheer scale and surroundings make the Buddha so striking. There are many other nature-driven rivers, parks, and springs to explore throughout your time in Sapporo as well. The Toyohira River riverbed is a popular in-city cycling spot for the citizens of Sapporo. Roads and paths in Hokkaido are said to be wider than those in Honshu, making for a spacious and well-suited environment for cyclists of all levels. Another urban oasis at Nakajima Park, you can see Mount Moiwa in the distance. There are over 5,000 trees planted in the park.
Jozankei's hot springs naturally flow out from the riverbank and cracks in the bedrock near the upper reaches of the Toyohira River, which flows through Sapporo City.
Winter is a beautiful season to visit Sapporo as well. The ice-cold air from Siberia blows across the Sea of Japan, creating generous snowfall, making it a paradise for winter sports lovers everywhere. Hot springs after ski, and hot food to warm up to. The beautiful powder days aren't only for skiing. You can explore new terrain by horse. And there are adventurous tracks for snowmobiling too. It's no surprise that several other Sapporo signature dishes are designed to warm and nourish. The local hearty miso ramen has a rich miso-flavored broth and thick, curly yellow noodles. There is no other city in the world where you can enjoy powder snow during the day at one of the many ski resorts in the city, and then go downtown at night to enjoy the local food, drinks, and interact with the locals. Let's step outside Sapporo and take a journey into the mountains. We follow the Mukawa River, one of 13 Class 1 rivers in Hokkaido. The Mukawa River runs from the northern Hidaka mountain range all the way out to the Pacific Ocean. The river is a major provider that carries the nutrients from the forest to enrich the animals living in the sea. We begin by bike cycling alongside the riverbanks. In this area, the river starts small and narrow. The trail here is packed gravel, one that is smooth and flat to start but progresses to go downhill. The rugged landscape you're cycling through was formed by the sea floor rising up. There are also plenty of fresh foods to forage here in the forest. We're grabbing a fresh snack before continuing the ride. When you see where you are from above, it makes you feel like such a small part of what's actually out there. The topography in this area makes for a fun cycle route as we make our way downhill to the next adventure, hopping in the river to raft down. As the Mukawa River opens up, it's time to hop in a raft down Class 3 rapids. The adventure starts out calm, but as the river begins to rush down, it widens and the thrills begin. You'll see the landscape change as you wind your way down. Look out for the red and blue rock. This shows where the seafloor was in the past when this area was once covered completely by the ocean. Though the river is flowing today, it's not always this way. In fact, 60 years ago, the water began to lower each year. This was due to deforestation. Over the past 20 years, the local communities and fishery cooperatives are working together to replant the forest over 45 acres every year, so it will continue to nourish the river and fish for the generations to come.
Our adventure follows the water cycle of the local river, headwaters to the sea, highlighting the unique ecosystem.
やっぱり村の中心をずっと流れてるもんですから、やっぱりその向川の源流のある村なんですね。ですからやはりその水の循環ということも含めて、昔からこの向川は村人にとってなくてはならない、ものでした。はい、先ほども言いましたけど、やっぱり僕たち水の循環の中に住んでるんだなっていうのが、ただ単純に雨が降って雪が降るだけじゃなくて、その雨が降った雪が降った、それがそのどういうふうにこう流れていって、海までたどり着いて、で、また雲になってこちらに戻ってくる、そういう水の循環を知りたかったね。やっぱりすごく自然が迫ってきてるというか近いですよね。で森も近いですし、森の中にはやっぱり野生獣もたくさんいて、そういったものと本当にこう身近にいる。だけれどもお互い、その大きな圧力もなく幸せに暮らしてる、そういうところが素晴らしいと思いますね。
We're stopping for a breather this evening at Hobetsu campsite. Our guide cooks us a casual, delicious dinner from an abundance of local ingredients, including wild plants from the forest, local vegetables, game meat, Mukawa Town's famous shishamo, and pure maple syrup. The Akaiwa Saigankyo Canyon here is breathtaking, and you can see huge pieces of red chert. The red chert owes its color to a small proportion of deep sea clay, an extremely fine sediment that settles on the sea floor.
北海道は1億5000万年ほど前まではやっぱり2つに離れていて、それが太平洋プレートとユーラシアプレートがあって、だんだん近づいてきて、でそこに海底火山の噴火だとか、プレートの移動だとかで、この赤い岩はその海底の中で何億年もかけて放散虫というプランクトンの遺骸が積み重なって、で海底火山の熱とそれからプレートの移動の圧で固められたものが、海底火山とプレートの移動で隆起してきて持ち上がってきた。
The river continues to widen as we float on. You can see the sheer power of Mother Nature as it pushes its way down the mountain toward the sea. We will raft the rapids and will be able to notice how the water has carved out and changed the landscape over the years. We're even passing a few waterfalls now. We're getting close to the sea. You can smell the salt in the air. It's time to trade in our rafts for canoes. We're going to make our way through the mouth of the river and into the Pacific. As the river gets more shallow, look closely into the water in the sandbank. You can see water running between the rocks. Stones and sand from the sandbanks act as a natural filter that purifies it. You can see now, in plain sight, the way the river carries water and nutrients. And it even cleans itself in the process. Natural filtration at its finest. As a circle of life, so to speak, the water flows from the headwaters to the sea, evaporates and forms clouds, and then arrives back at the start as rain, completing the system.
So we canoed the Mukawa River all the way to the ocean. It was very thrilling. What an exciting experience. I enjoyed it. The best.
We're now paddling down the coast and we'll head back to land for our next adventure to learn about the Ainu culture with first-hand experiences. Moving south down the Pacific is the Hidaka area. In a hard-to-reach part of the world at the time, Isabella Bird, the British explorer, set out to Hokkaido and spent several days learning the ways of the Ainu. She brought the message to the world. We can do just as she did and experience the culture firsthand. Isabella crossed this very river to reach the Ainu on her journey. In the past, the river was wide and quite high.
Footpath was really interesting. It's great to be able to walk on a path that a Westerner walked over 150 years ago. It's amazing to think that a woman would do something like that, or anyone would do something like that in Japan on their own in that time period. I think it's great that there's a connection there with the Ainu and the Biratori area. There's some nice views, great nature to see while walking a historical path.
We now travel to the last destination of our walk, Yoshitsune Shrine. We climb up the steps to the building, tucked away in green trees in a calm space. We step into another world when we enter through the black gate that leads us to the shrine. Surrounding us is the amazing architecture and culture that the shrine holds. You hear the sound of running water in the distance, which creates a calm and peaceful atmosphere. As we make our way through the shrine, the chief priest, or Aguji, will lead a prayer for us and our travels. The shrine is thought to bring good luck to visitors.
The ceremony was a great finale. The ceremony was very interesting. I've never been inside a shrine like that and participated, so it was a little nervous. I was a little nervous, but it was fun, and I really could feel the energy when they beat the drum. You can feel it like a vibration in your body. It's like you're in the drum. So that was quite an experience, and it made me think a lot more about Japanese religious culture and Shinto beliefs.
After leaving the shrine, we're at Nibutani Ainu Culture Museum to learn about Ainu culture and see more Ainu artifacts. The area here is filled with traditional Ainu-built houses. The Ainu houses are called chisei. Carving is an important part of traditional Ainu culture, and we're learning to carve today from one of the Ainu master artisans.
このニブタニで生まれて、貝沢徹と言います。で、木彫りを始めたのが44年前。18歳から 屋号が北の甲墓勤っていうのは父親の名前で50年ちょっとで、ルーツっていうと曽祖父の時代からこの伝統工芸品を掘り続けているというところです。ニュータニの特徴的なというか模様的には、今全土でいろんなアイヌの彫り師がいっぱいいますけど、大体こう継承されて現在にも至っているっていうところはこの地域独特の、木彫りのアイヌ文様を施したもので、女性の手仕事なんせそういうものはもうずっと代々受け継いでますね。
Time for lunch at Urakawa Yushun Village Barbecue. On today's menu, Genghis Khan lamb meat, fresh vegetables, and rice. On a good weather day, we'd hike Mount Apoi, but today we have high winds. So we're going to stay inside the Mount Apoi Geopark Visitor Center and learn more about the mountain and about how the Ainu people interact with its unique ecosystem from here.
The Ainu lived in the area long before the Japanese ever came here. And Mount Apoi, known as Ape-oi-nupuri, was very special, sacred to the Ainu people. So when they first came to the area, deer was a very important food source to them. But there was no deer here. So they climbed to the top of Mount Apoi and lit a giant bonfire as high as they could make it go to pray to the kamui, the gods, to send them deer. And it worked. After they built the fire and prayed to the gods, they sent lots of deer to the area, and they're very prosperous.
So that means, they call it Mount Apoi.
Yes, so Mount Apoi, Ape-oi-nupuri, means mountain of fire.
After all the history, it's time to take in some onsen culture. Get dressed in your traditional onsen outfit, yukata, page through the local book about Ainu culture, and unwind in a hot spring bath.
Tomorrow, we'll be climbing into nature. Staying at a traditional hunter's camp, you will learn how to set it all up like the Ainu did. That means also without gas, running water, or electricity. You are about to experience life back in the day.
僕は30歳ぐらいの30の時に、鉄砲の免許を取ってそれから狩猟民族になりたいなっていう感じで狩猟生活をしてるんですけれども、その中で今こうやって仲間たちがワークショップみたいなことをやってみればいいんじゃないのかっていうことでこういうキャンプをやってるんですよね。で、鉄砲を持ったきっかけも子供の頃からずっとやりたかったし、狩猟民族だっていうことでもあったし、自由に鹿肉を食えるってすごいいいなと思ってやってたからね。で、なんとか取ったんですけれども、
You will have a unique outdoor experience with an Ainu-style ceremony. Kamui, the Ainu deity, holds a lot of meaning and importance to the Ainu culture. You're watching Ainu traditional ceremony now. At the beginning of setting up camp, we ask the deity to let us enter the forest and to keep us safe. Today, we pray to a familiar deity, Ape Husi. After the ceremony, now we begin to use what the forest provides to build a traditional camping hut. This one-of-a-kind invitation allows you to step into yet another part of the Ainu culture. Now, we are getting a fire prepared with the trees from the surrounding woods. It's time to prepare and grill lunch. But first, our host wants to show us how he lives off the land through all the seasons. In the old days, Ainu people used bows for hunting, but today they're used as one of the traditional dance items. Let's head back to the campfire and cook our lunch, local deer. It's important we continue to respect and learn about these amazing cultures. Dialogue and experiences through cultural heritage will open up new possibilities for the future of Hokkaido. As the Ainu continue to share their stories of nature, we can continue to learn about these more remote parts of the world. It's what keeps the story alive.